Iraqi and Kurdish forces making great strides in the fight against ISIS with the help from dozens of U.S. airstrikes.
Today, with our support, Iraqi and Kurdish forces took a major step forward by recapturing the largest dam in Iraq near the city of Mosul. The Mosul dam fell under terrorist control earlier this month and is directly tied to our objective of protecting Americans in Iraq.
But now, a potentially game-changing response. The terrorist group releasing this video showing what it claims is the beheading of an American journalist, James Foley. The militants say that his killing is in retaliation for those airstrikes, and they're threatening to behead another American journalist if the U.S. continues interfering in Iraq. And joining me now is Katie McFarland. She's a Fox News national security analyst and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense during the Reagan administration. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So what do you make of these developments today?
Heather, the gates of hell are open and the hellhounds are loose, and that's ISIS. You can't negotiate with them, you can't bribe them, you can't contain them. We can only kill them. Now, the question is how best to kill them. U.S. airstrikes have been very effective. We need to arm the Kurds, give them whatever they need. They're the Navy SEALs of the Middle East. They're the only ones who've been willing so far to stand up against ISIS. Give them what they need. Secondly, form a coalition. The other moderate Sunnis in the region who never were worried about ISIS before, they're looking at this and saying, our heads are going to be on the stake next. So have Secretary Kerry take out the checkbook, take out the arms catalog, and say, what is it going to take to get all of you to stand up to ISIS? But understand, American boots on the ground, that's not going to solve the problem. It hasn't been successful before, it won't be successful now. But what America can do is facilitate those sandals in the sand to stand up to ISIS.
And what we need to understand is this really is a terrorist army, upwards of 80,000 strong by some accounts. And the president himself, he used the word containment. You talked about contain. How do you contain these terrorists when they're not just focusing on Syria and Iraq, they're focusing beyond that, correct?
Their goal is, you know, look, when we fought Al-Qaeda, they just wanted to blow up some buildings. They were bad enough. But what this is a terrorist army. They're the best equipped terrorist army in the world because it's with state-of-the-art American equipment they took from the Iraqi army when the Iraqi army fled. They're the best financially supported. They have some $2 billion in cash and assets. They're getting some $3 million a day in revenues from oil wells. Their goal is to take over the world. Now, we laugh at that, but look what they've done in just 3 months. They've gone from 2,000 thugs to, as you point out, an army that could well be north of 50,000, 80,000. Their goal is to kill everybody in sight, Christians, religious minorities, especially Americans, and even their fellow Muslims. So what we need to do is stop them in their tracks using the locals to help us, the Kurds, other Sunni moderates in the region, but understand, get Americans out of there. There are thousands of Americans in Iraq and even in Afghanistan. They are now targets because as far as ISIS is concerned, beheading Americans, this is their greatest dream.
Right, and they're not just beheading Americans. You know, you and I actually set years ago, and there was a story that we were doing on Syria, and there was this image, this little girl, a picture of her, and she was in the middle of this war-torn country of Syria, and I tried to search out her image online just by chance yesterday. I was trying to see, you know, if I could get an update on her, who she was, and there are pictures, countless pictures, one after another, of what's going on over there with ISIS beheading their own, beheading children, little children, you know, raised up by their parents, and you know, the parents holding their child in a little dress and their head is gone. These people are horrible, they're horrific. What are the chances that they're coming here?
This is the other problem. There are 7,000, Belgian intelligence estimates that there's 7,000 European passport holders fighting in Iraq and Syria right now. The man who beheaded the American journalist has a British accent. There are considered to be several hundred American passport holders. They have said, their leader has said, see you in New York. When they're coming back home in Europe, home in the United States, they're not going to open a falafel shop and join the Rotary Club. They're coming home to kill. And they have shown they will stop at absolutely nothing. That's why we need to get serious, not only about helping the people in the region to kill them there, but also get very serious about American homeland.
Is the president serious enough about it? He went back on vacation.
the president ought to get off the golf course and get in the White House Situation Room and deal with this, because
Okay.
this is the greatest threat facing American citizens abroad and at home.
All right, KT McFarland, you heard her say it here. Thank you, KT.
Thank you, Heather.
Bill?
Streets turning to rivers, Heather. Flash flood.